Good morning. Actually, good afternoon where I'm at. All right, I threw this together really quick. Hi, Delia. I have just decided to press and starch and press my strips. So what I think I'm going to do, I am going to, this border is 6.5 inches and it'll finish at 6. I think I'm going to make a folded corner here, and so I'm going to do it in the opposite colorway. So I would make this white and then make the rest of this green and then stop here and then do the same thing on this corner and then put just a green square here so it'll look like a star effect in that corner. And then this will butt up against the next block and then do the opposite for the opposite colorway. I'm just winging this. I don't have a pattern. I'm just winging it. So let me see. Hi, Shirley. Let me do one more thing. I didn't turn on the TV, so it's easier for me to look over my shoulder than to read the comments because I've got the iPad going where the screen's away from me. So let me fix that. And I don't know how long I'm going to be able to do this because I don't have the air conditioning on in the house, and it's supposed to not get hot today, but it's really, really muggy. So I'll just go as long as I can. Yeah, that's weird. I'm not sure why that is. If I turn my iPad around, I'm not. Let me try it. I see, okay. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm trying to keep this toward y'all. Sorry if that made anyone sick. Sorry. Okay. So here is my strip, and I've got the folded corners ruler. I do not like drawing lines on my fabric because then it creates more tools. So let me do some trimming here. Let me get rid of my selvage. I have a very small workspace, so, and normally my ironing and all that's in the kitchen, and I brought it all in here at the last minute, maybe to save some grace, I don't know. And I think my rotary cutter has went dull. It's having problems cutting, and I just changed it. That's disappointing. Alright, so how the folded corners, and by the way, the folded corners rulers is a Doug Lico ruler. I've had this ruler now since about 2017. I don't know, whenever he invented it. I don't remember how long ago that was. Let's see. So basically you start out, whatever your strip is, you're going to cut that size square. Let me get rid of the selvage on this as well. Yeah, it's got a dull spot. I'll have to get that fixed. Okay. So, how this works. Alright, depending on how you want it to fold, which I want my corner to be like this on this particular piece, so I'm gonna use my ruler on that angle. Sometimes angles, okay, so for those of you who were in Teresa Louise's I Quilt 2 chat yesterday, as well as Mom and Pop Quilt Shop's live yesterday, I made these feathered star blocks. So I had 2 of them already made, and the other 2 did not come so gracefully. And it helps if you start out with a square. Apparently I didn't square these up good. Okay, so how it works, if you'll see here, I've got the 6-inch mark here, and then I've got the 6.5-inch mark just past that. Obviously that's the size of my square. I know that this will finish out at 6 inches, and this line from corner to corner, I'm not lining up my line on the corner. I'm actually lining my grid lines on the edge of this fabric that's going to fold. And by doing this, I'm not taking the time to draw the line and then to sew on it and then to cut it anyway. So usually this works. I don't know. I've had really good luck with this ruler. Alright, so there's my scrap, and I'll be able to just take this to the machine. Let me plug it in. And it looks like I've come unthreaded too. Sorry. No, it's not. There we go. It was messed up. I have children, so no telling what happened. Okay. didn't even check my bobbin, so I'll probably have to deal with that too. Usually, y'all, I am way more prepared than this, but this was just a last minute thing. I'm trying to get in edgewise because I don't want to interrupt anybody else's lives, because everybody seems to have a scheduled time. And the last 2 lives I did was at like 7 o'clock in the morning, which if you're on the East Coast, that's okay, but if you're on the West Coast, y'all are still snoozing, so. Alright. So you set your seam allowance to a scant seam. And I think I've got mine set correctly. We'll find out after we stitch it. Nope. And I ran out, wouldn't you know it, right when I said that. And my thread cutter on my machine is very dull, so don't look at my dust bunnies. Yes, they need to be cleaned. We won't speak of them. Thanks, Nancy. Load some Appel thread in the bottom. I don't have that in the top. And I know that I was on Practically Creative's live one day this past week, and my long arm broke while I was listening to. What is going on? Why is it hanging up? Anyway, my long arm broke, and so my last video, if you go watch that, was me fixing my long arm. And I do not know how to fix long arms, but my skill set, because of my job, I know how to do those things, so I just dived into it and did it and figured out what not to do. And sewing machines have been around for years, and pretty much all sewing machines are the same, reasonably the same, until you get to the digital stuff. Alright, so I'm finger pressing, and that one turned out really good. So I don't remember what the block measures. Yeah. So I'm wondering how much that measures. So it's going to measure 16, so I need to cut this strip at 16 and a half. I don't know, will that look funky? I don't think so. This is just a fur baby quilt, so the baby's not going to care. Alright, this is where my cutting mat is in the other room, and I only have one camera, so let me go cut this at 16 and a half inches, and I'll be right back. Yeah, how are y'all doing this fine and glorious day? And by the way, my name's Dawn. Welcome to my channel. Alright. If any of you have the Quilt system, how do you like it? Me and my mom have a library of dies. I usually buy something for her for Christmas, or she buys something for me for Christmas or for my birthday, and we've just amassed this collection of dies and share them. And this was something that I've been wanting to try for a long time, and then when they came out with this and the AccuQuilt, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and splurge. And great, Nancy, glad to hear it. I'm gonna go ahead and, you know, splurge on this, and it was on sale. It was expensive, but I don't like to cut, and this little block is full of weird angles. And normally I'm a chain piecer, so I would start another block at this point, but for camera's sake, we're just gonna go ahead. All right, so I finger pressed the folded corner, and now I'm going to finger press this seam. But these blocks, the instructions are for a different kind of colorway for the AccuQuilt. So they'll have these triangles match this border, and maybe these, and then have different colors for the tips and the HSTs off of the border, and then this would be different. And the instructions, I had a heck of a time trying to keep everything straight, and I think my mind's a pretty straight and narrow thought process, and I got so turned around. And so how this block goes together, they first start you out, ignore this, you sew this, no wait, sorry, this block, you sew this strip here. Oh, I'm off camera, hang on. So the very first step on sewing this, you're going to have this block, I think that's block B, and then you're going to have blocks I and block F. This block's not here, none of that's there. And you sew this, and so you have this funny edge right here. And that kind of throws one for a loop because you want to automatically make that squared off. So that was part of my problem, but got over that hurdle on the first one. After I did that, this is my first block. It went together pretty good. Then the next series you make all of these in a mirror image. So they start you out, let's see, how do they start you out? They start you out, so if this is this, then you have your square, which, by the way, this square is a different color than in the directions, so I kept trying to put a white one there because my square was green, so this kind of confused me. And then I think these are those I pieces. Yeah, I think these are I pieces, and then F pieces, and then these pieces are G pieces. So these and these are not the same size. And then this and this is not the same size. And so you've got two squares, and I even used my alphabeties to keep things straight, and I just got all turned around. No telling, I don't know if you can tell, maybe, I don't know, there should be a bunch of puncture marks on the back of the fabric because I got so turned around. So after you get these, this all sews together in one piece. But the hard part is when you construct this. So this is already done, and this is already done. So you're doing this, and this is a partial seam here. So this is from another block. And so basically you are joining all these pieces together, and you have to pre-join this here before you sew this on, And then this you can join all together to sew that on. But then you have to leave this kind of open because then you have to make this a huge Y seam. And this part was the easiest part, and we all know how hard Y seams are. So this block was so complicated. Even staring at the one that I had done, I kept getting turned around because the next one I did in the opposite colorway. I have not pressed this one, but this is the opposite colorway, so I kept getting turned around, and this second one went better, but then the third and fourth one happened on a different day, and everything I learned, I forgot. And so during Mom and Pop's live, I started these other two blocks, and I was not done when they finished. And then I kind of took a break because I stand at my buffet. This is my grandmother's old buffet. I stand at it to sew because I find I get in a really weird posture when I'm sewing, and so it hurts. So I find that if I stand, my body will tell me real quick, hey, you need to take a rest. So I took a rest, and then I went back at it. And who came on? I guess it was Teresa Louise came on next that I watched. I want to say that, but maybe it was someone else. And I fussed and fussed and fussed with that, and I still was not done at 10 o'clock when I went to bed. And I fussed with it all night long. I kept sewing it, and then, oh, I ripped it all out, sew it again. Oh, I did the next step wrong. And then I got to the point where I didn't want to get the AccuQuilt system back out, so because these are G pieces and I pieces, which are different sizes, I kept grabbing the wrong size, and I finally, after I made all these HSTs, which were the wrong size, I'm like, I'm just going to put these in, since this is on the strip for E, I'm going to run these through the die and trim them up. And I saved it like that. That way I didn't have to waste a bunch of fabric. But these took a hot minute, let me tell you. Okay, so I think this is what I'm going to do. So I will make another one for this stretch to this stretch, and then I'll put a green here. Let's see. I think that's what I'm going to do. Gotta get a visual. I'm looking at my other one. Let me cut another square. Oops. Darn it. And the light is just so funny in this corner. Okay. Just doesn't seem to be lined up, but it is. Something. Looking at that one, I keep looking over my shoulder. So this one, nope. Is that how it will go? No. On that diagonal. Alright, folded corner ruler. And I said I cut on that diagonal. It's so easy to get turned around. Okay. So I'm lining up my lines. And if I I don't have a mishap with cutting. That one should be perfect. Sorry my machine's so loud. I don't have any software to deafen the machine for you. Okay, finger press. With any luck, I did this right. Oh, that's a neat look. All right. So now I need to cut another. I need to cut my strip, and then whatever's left over I'll use as the square. All right, I'll be right back. Haha, I forgot this. Sorry, y'all. Okay, can y'all hear me okay? Because I've had problems with my iPad and people being able to hear me. My rotary cutter in the other room. It's so late. Da da da. All right. Yes. Well, that's just a nicer touch. This is turning out way better than what I thought. Sometimes I surprise myself. Okay, I need to press that seam going the other way. Let me finger press this different. There. Okay, I like it. I don't know, that angle's kind of weird, but this is baby quilt. Baby ain't gonna care, so. I've already spent oodles of time on this top. And I do pin on long seams. But a good note for making your, when you nest your seams, if you nest them and your seam that you're running through the top that you can visually see when looking down while you're stitching, that seam needs to always go towards the needle. And I know you run the risk of flipping the seam, but that'll actually wedge it in to the seam on the underside, and so it'll nest perfectly. Just a little tip I learned along the way. You guys may already know that though. And I'm a pedal to the metal kind of sewer. I sew as fast as I can. My scissors in here. Goodness. Oh, it's one of those days again. Alright, so we increased the 16 inches that this block finishes out to be, or 15 3/4, whatever it is. Like it. After I get these, and if I have enough fabric cut, I'm not sure I've got enough fabric cut, but I'll try and swing over to the design wall so y'all can see this. Alright, so this next one I need to do with a white strip. And let me go cut that right now. I need to measure this block because this mop block might be a little bit different. Hi, Melissa. Alright. Glad y'all could make it. This makes my day. Alright, so now we're focusing on, I've got 4 of these, so this is the top right quadrant, so I'm going to need an angle to go that way. Yeah, I didn't cut enough fabric. Dang, dang, dang. That's alright. That's what I get for winging it. So another 6.5-inch square. Hang on just a second. Sorry about that. Okay. Mother interruptions. So I want that one to go like that. So I will cut using my simple folded corner ruler on that diagonal. This is a 1948 featherweight, full of dust that I picked up for dirt cheap, and I love this machine. I've had two. I gave the other one to my mom, and all right, I think this is right. Yes, this is right. Sometimes it helps for me to talk to myself. Okay, and all of these that I'm trimming off, I can also probably sew those up and then put them in the backing or add another detail if I wanted to. Let's see. I'm using Coats and Clark's thread. I'm using Aurifil thread in the bobbin. Okay, did I do that right? Yes. Finger press. Alright, let's bring over this other block, which by the way is not pressed, sorry. This is number 2 block. I like that. Alright. And I'm going to pin. And incidentally, so I did a fabric pull last night. Have any of you seen the new pattern by Tilda Fabrics for their solids? Let's see, what is it called? Let me get the pattern. So Tilda Fabrics has got a pattern out. If you go to tildasworld.com and then choose the free pattern tab and then select the solids, this pattern will come up. Basically it's a bunch of 2-inch squares that resemble flowers, and it's pixelated. I just love this, and it's called the Embroidery Flower Quilt. And I absolutely fell in love with this, but I'm like, I don't want to go spend a bunch of money on solids. So I started pulling from my stash to see what I had. And believe it or not, I had a bunch of blenders. I had a box of fossil ferns that I'm throwing into this. I did have a few solids, and I'm going to go ahead and make some of these out of prints. And I pulled my fabrics, and lo and behold, I had all, how many colors are there? So I had all the fabrics, and some of these I fudged on just a shade or two, except for the solid peacock. I did not have that, so I'll probably just use either black or a white. But I'm going to be starting on this, and so I started my pull, and then I started labeling what fabric number it would be, and I used all my pins. So I'm down to the nitty gritty bent nasty pins. You know, the ones that it doesn't fail, you'll have a whole pin cushion full of pins, and every time you grab the bent pin. And I don't know, you guys can see my seam guide. My seam guide is actually an old OFA ruler, or sorry, OmniGrid ruler. My OmniGrid, after having it for like 26 years, it finally needed to be retired. And I don't know, I think I've talked about this before in my other videos, but so if you have a ruler that is your go-to ruler that you use lots and lots and lots, it's possible that each time you're cutting on it, and you've done it for how many years, however many you've used it for, it's possible that your rotary blade is slowly ate away at the edge, and if you set it on a table and it rocks, it's time to get a new ruler, which that one had that problem. But this was the short edge of the ruler, and I thought, man, it's such a shame, I don't want to just throw this away. So believe it or not, these acrylic rulers, when you try to break them, they won't break. I did not go to the store and buy, you can get like a plexiglass trimmer. I did not do that. I took my ruler to work and I put it on the brake press, the hand brake press, and I snapped it. And when it sheared, it didn't shear in a straight line. So I just used this as my straight edge, and then I took a drill bit and took this back home, made a mark approximately where my seam allowance gauge is, my seam allowance screw is, and then this moves all around, or I can move it to this bigger hole if I wanted to, but that was the original hang up hole. And the great thing about this ruler where I drilled the hole, I always know that if I push it all the way this way and I line it up even with the front, I'm true and square, and it's that way every time. That is so nice. All right, so we've got that corner done. Now we need to work on the next strip. So, ooh, I don't have enough. Let me go ahead and cut the corner square. I'm very pleased at how this looks after all the struggles I had yesterday. I'm very pleased. And that was the bad spot. Okay. Alright, I'm going to go in the other room and cut this one, this long strip, and I'll be right back. Alright, this time I got smart and I cut two pieces since they're all the same. Alright, so the corner on this one, we need to cut a square of this. Okay. Now I'm looking at this over my shoulder. And this needs to be this way. So I'm going to use my simple folded corner ruler instead of drawing my line. I'm going to not line up the corners, but line up the lines of my fabrics. Okay. I don't know, that ruler, I probably need to replace it. The lines are starting to wear out on it. I don't know what causes that. That's frustrating. Oh no. Yeah, we have a thread jam. For those of you who do not know this, you never ever run your featherweight with thread in your needle. Well, I'm going to cut my thread because that's just weird. And we're going to try and get that out. There. Get the dust bunny out of there. Alright. Good news, I didn't have to take it apart. What are y'all working on today? Bring my bottom thread back up. I did it again. Alright, I have to hold my mouth just right. Something's, some days. Loose threads. Got a bajillion things to do today, and here I am sewing. Alright, did I do it right? Yes. I like it, I like it. Alright, sewing the cornerstone on. This week I noticed something. There's a lady that follows me, and she's got her own channel, and I was appreciating her because she was coming and commenting on my channel every time I uploaded or whatever, and I do really appreciate that. But I like to read comments in the videos because there's sometimes a learning experience in those comments. And I noticed that she's helping out the analytics for the channel because she's commenting, which YouTube, that's one of the things that they measure by your comments and everything, on how they put you out there and their metrics or whatever. So, but her message to me was the same to like 15 other people that I follow, and it kind of made me a little sad because she wasn't being genuine, and I don't know, that really bothered me. Should it bother me? No, but it did. Those of you who are just joining us, welcome, welcome. I am putting the borders on my feathered star blocks, and this was just a quick throw it out there, hurry up, let's go live before, who knows. I think it's supposed to storm tonight. The humidity, you could cut the air with a knife. I mean, I feel like my carpeting's sticky because it's so humid in the house. I know there's storms, and by the way, I'm in Texas. There's storms out in the west, and so I think tomorrow it's supposed to cool off, which means the dry line will come through, which means there's going to be some nasty storms somewhere. And I've been working on a memory quilt for a coworker. And I agreed before I saw the fabrics to do the Appel Mandala quilt. Beautiful, beautiful design that he came up with. And relatively easy. What it is just a bunch of circles that are in a larger circle pattern that radiate out from the center. And when I got the fabrics from my coworker, they were all 100% polyester except for one, which was t-shirt material. And they're having a boy. And there was also pink. And I don't care. They didn't care. I don't care. That's their deal. But the memory quilt, I'm making them because it was some deceased person's clothing. And so I've procrastinated on it for so long because it's just so ugly to me. And I loaded it on the long arm yesterday morning. And I was just going to outline all the circles and make them connect with a line. In that row, and then I decided, I'm going to go ahead and follow that line out off the quilt, and so I made this circular stuff radiate out, and I was like, oh, that's kind of neat. I surprised myself because now I'm really liking it, and now I'm going back in the main body of the quilt is black. Yeah, isn't that sad? But I guess the real thing is she's trying to beat the Shirley. She's trying to beat the metrics to where the more you comment and like on videos, because those comments are out there, the more it'll force YouTube to put it in, like, you know how when you open up the app or you go on YouTube, you have all of this stuff on the screen that's not really related to what you follow, or it's not anyone you follow. Well, they do that so that they can slide a new person in there, and otherwise they wouldn't be able to keep up with any of that and you'd never be discovered. So I somewhat understand it, but it's really kind of a downer. I don't know. It just feels not genuine. Anyway, the quilt, I now went back with my circle templates, and I'm just quilting sporadic circles in the black, which is the negative space, and oh my god, it is turning out phenomenal. I wish that I could go live at my long arm because it would have been something really neat to see, because it's giving it so much texture and it's taking away the blah from it, because I thought it was kind of blah. Alright, so I've got this square done. I've got this square done. I'm going to go ahead and join the two together. Oops. Grab grabbed the wrong fabric. Alright, I'm going to pin. I hope I have enough pins. I probably have some stuck in my design wall. Let me go see. Yeah. Pin. And for those of you who don't know this, I have a blog, which my blog has just totally fallen flat in the last couple months. And on my blog, I asked readers, hey, what's changed? What can I do different? Because there's nobody coming to my blog anymore. I did have someone comment that I had changed how I was doing things, where I'm more teaching now, which is okay. She liked the fact that I was doing things on my own and liked the sense of adventure. But I got to looking, WordPress went in, and I don't know. I know of one email follower that the email had went bad just because she was a local person, and that email service is no longer available locally. And so I knew that some of those probably were bad emails. I had like maybe 50 email followers, and now I have 4. So that's why I don't have any traffic to my blog, and that just upsets me. And I guess they went in and did a cleanup. I mean, obviously in the quilting industry, some of us are of more of an advanced age than others, and so it's possible that some of those people have died and that email doesn't even exist anymore. I mean, we have had a couple rough years in that department. So, and then I got to thinking, well, everybody is kind of a hamster left out of their cage because, oh yeah, I like it. Okay, let me get this up on the design wall. Alright. I like how this is turning out. I'm going to go ahead and put my hand over the camera, and I'm going to... Well, surely it is enjoyable for me to sit here and make blocks, and I'd never tried this one, and it was on my bucket list, and so I like it, but gosh, I wish I had better instructions because I got so turned around. Okay, I'm going to put my hand over the camera so no one gets sick. Well, I really like how this turned out. This was just a spur of the moment. I thought, okay, I don't want a fancy border. I thought about doing like a 9 patch here and then doing alternating stripes from the 9 patch. But I'm actually liking this better. So these were 16 or 15 3/4 inch finished. And then I just added a 6-inch border, so that's 30. So that's 42 by 42. So that'll be a nice baby quilt size. Yeah, and so I don't know if this person's having a boy or a girl. They're too early in their pregnancy to know. But I think these are the colors in her house. And so she is really, really going to like this. And then when she's done using it for baby, she'll probably use it on the wall or something. Thank you, Delia. Thank you, Melissa. I don't think I've got enough fabric pressed and cut to do the bottom portion, but this won't take me very long to finish, and then I'll be able to have another one ready for the long arm. Sometimes the best things for me is just to wing it. I find that following patterns is not my cup of tea, and I was getting the So Yeah subscription box. I didn't like it. I was thinking basics as like neutrals and, you know, stuff like that. And so the first box, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to make this ever. The fabrics are pretty. I'll use the fabrics eventually, but I'm not going to make this. So I canceled it. On month 2, I'm like, okay, fossil fern. I already have fossil fern. But that one was another, just didn't like the pattern. And sometimes my inspiration is me thinking and seeing something and making a change to it. So it's not my cup of tea. But then I started lusting after the Open Gates quilt box. And I really, really like that box. I have not made any of the projects. I've already commandeered or cannibalized the fabrics out of some of those projects. But again, I'm not a pattern follower usually. Although, on that note, I just got the Farm Girl Vintage 2 book in. So I figure I'm going to start sewing some of those blocks. That may be my next baby quilt, where towards the back of that book they have like the 36-inch larger blocks, and I probably will make one of those for one of the babies coming. I don't know. I got the pickle dish die. I want to try that. Maybe sew something similar to this where it's just two-tone and it'll be gender neutral, because I don't know if it's too early. I don't know if they're having a boy or girl. And do the pickle dish, maybe do 4 of those blocks and just sew a strip and then make the rest negative space. And that way I can check that one off my bucket list. That's the great thing about baby quilts, because you can sew a smaller sample and you don't get tired of sewing so many blocks. I love sewing baby quilts because you never get tired of it. You can change up the color. You can do whatever you want. The baby don't care. Any questions? I know that I probably didn't really explain things very well. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I like it. It's definitely worth doing again, maybe one day, for myself. But I think if I tally up the amount of time I've got in just this, it's probably close to 10 hours. I don't like spending 10 hours on a baby quilt, just because you don't know if that's going to end up at Goodwill. And so obviously somebody will love it along the line somewhere, but it's a lot of work to put your heart into it and for it to be given away. Most of the people that I do this for, I don't think that is the case. But you never know. So, okay, well, I've been on here for about an hour, and I think I'm going to go ahead and turn on the high velocity fan. If I do that, y'all won't be able to hear me anymore. So I'm going to go ahead and sign off. I so appreciate y'all coming, seeing me, and watching my video. Just listening. You don't even have to watch. Just listen. Do you have any questions about me or my machine, or I don't know. Thanks, Delia. Bye, Melissa. Bye, Delia. Bye, Shirley. And if Nancy's still here, bye, Nancy. And thanks, y'all.